You have never had a job. You've never accomplished anything. There's no reason to believe you have any merit or qualification for 8.5 million lives.
We just had a former governor say in his own words that the city has been getting screwed by the state. Who was leading the state? It was you.
Governor Hochul.
You were leading the state for
Governor
10 years,
Hochul.
screwing the city.
No.
Joran, your resume could fit on a cocktail napkin. And Andrew, your failures could fill a public school library in New York City.
That was the last time that Democrat Zohran Mamdani, Independent Andrew Cuomo, and the Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa will share the debate stage before New York City's mayoral election, which is in 13 days from now. With President Trump's influence hanging over the Big Apple, Mamdani and Cuomo both squared off on how they would deal with him.
Donald Trump ran on 3 promises. He ran on creating the single largest deportation force in American history. He ran on going after his political enemies, and he ran on lowering the cost of living. If he wants to talk to me about the 3rd piece of that agenda, I will always be ready and willing. But if he wants to talk about how to pursue the 1st and 2nd piece of that agenda at the expense of New Yorkers, I will fight him every single step of the way.
Donald Trump, I believe, wants Mamdani. That is his dream, because he will use him politically all across the country. And he will take over New York City. Make no mistake. It will be President Trump and Mayor Trump, and he will come in and take over the city.
Joining me tonight is longtime political journalist Andrew Kurtzman, who is the author of Giuliani, The Rise and Tragic Fall of America's Mayor. And you've been covering this race. I wonder what you made of tonight's moment on the debate stage, which was a big one, a big final one before this race.
Sure. Well, this race has been about Zohran Mamdani for months now. And tonight, Andrew Cuomo, who has had kind of a listless, joyless campaign for much of this year, kind of woke up and, went in there trying to kind of knock Mamdani off of his pedestal, and was extremely effective, surprisingly so, because Mamdani is such an extraordinary communicator. He's a terrific debater. He's always on message. He's disciplined. I mean, Mamdani is a phenomenon. But tonight he had 2 opponents who were in top form, and they were so effective in kind of reducing him that at one point they were both laughing at him from left and right. It was really kind of painful. And Mamdani has, been almost flawless up until tonight. And this was, for Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa, this is a good night for Mamdani to kind of not be so on.
That's a notable takeaway, given obviously as we've been covering this, watching the other debate. We have a picture, I believe, tonight of Andrew Cuomo at the Knicks game. As you can see here, that we are going to show everyone what he's been up to and what he's been doing in the moments since that debate happened. He's sitting next to Eric Adams there, as you can see here, as we were watching this. This was tweeted from the Andrew Cuomo account. When it comes to what we're watching, there was a moment on the debate stage where Andrew Cuomo was facing questions from Curtis Sliwa and Mamdani on the harassment allegations from his time as governor that ended it. I want everyone to listen to that moment.
Do you ever know that no means no? You know what no means?
One of those women, Charlotte Bennett, is here in the audience this evening. What do you say to the 13 women that you sexually harassed?
If you want to be in government, then you have to be serious and mature. There were allegations of sexual harassment. They were then went to 5 district attorneys, fully litigated for 4 years. The cases were dropped, right? You know that as a fact. So everything you just said was a misstatement, which we're accustomed to from you.
Everything that I stated was a misstatement?
Yes, because the cases were dropped. That's what happened.
So Mamdani brought one of the Cuomo accusers there tonight to the debate. I wonder what you made of how that played out on the stage.
Right. Well, Cuomo, first of all, it was an interesting tactic, and probably something that did rattle Cuomo. I mean, Cuomo has had a very hard time kind of dealing with that issue. And, you know, it's hard to spin. He was forced to resign in a sexual harassment scandal. And, you know, he's tried every which way to kind of frame it as something that was, you know, way overblown. He was exonerated by several district attorneys who decided not to press charges. And that's his term, not, you know, not mine. And but it's very, very hard to get out of that thing. And Mamdani was a positively lacerating. I mean, Mamdani is a very, very talented debater. As you can see, he did a very, very good job. And, you know, what you do in a debate like this is you try to kind of deal with it as quickly as possible and change the subject. And, you know, as much as he could, Cuomo, you know, did as best as he could tonight.
Well, and on one front, you know, in terms of the administration and how they would deal with President Trump, we saw ICE today arresting people in downtown Manhattan today and yesterday, I believe. And that was a question that they got asked about tonight, is how would they handle Trump's deportation efforts? And this is what Andrew Cuomo had to say.
I've had a lot of dealings with President Trump. And there's only one way to deal with him. He puts his finger in your chest, and you have to put your finger right back in his chest. You don't send ICE in without coordinating with our police. It's not smart, it's duplicative, and it's dangerous. I would have called the president, and I would have said, look, you're way out of bounds, they're way out of bounds, call them back, or I'm going to have the NYPD step in and stop them.
What did you make of that answer?
Look, I mean, Mamdani is so good at kind of framing answers in a crisp, memorable way that it often leads Cuomo to kind of occupy the muddled middle, right? So Mamdani has been extremely anti-Trump. You know, one of the reasons for his success is kind of given voice for the frustration of so many New Yorkers who just hate Trump and don't feel like the Democratic leaders have really been, you know, fiery enough. And it leaves Cuomo to be like, well, you know, I could call Trump and Trump will listen to me and, you know, Trump won't, you know, say, you know, trample over me. But it's Mamdani on Trump who I think resonates more.
Andrew Kurtzman, it's always great to have you here on the show. Thank you for watching the debate and giving us your takeaways tonight.
Thank you.